Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. So the dust has settled, isn't it, on Canelo Smith, and wow, it was a big performance from Canelo last night, wasn't it? I didn't expect it to be that one-sided. I thought Canelo would do damage with the body shots. He did. I didn't expect him to back Smith up like that from round one so regularly, so consistently, concisely. And I fully didn't expect Canelo to just walk through Smith's punches. I thought if he walked Smith down, he's going to get caught with that left hook and buzzed. But it was unbelievable. It was like he didn't phase him. The punches that knocked Groves out, for instance, and knocked Fielding out, and many others, Canelo just walked through. His chin is granite. The fact that he's 5'8", backing up a 6'4" guy with a huge reach advantage in his prime is frightening, really. He seems to be getting better and better and better, Canelo. He's a much better fighter, for instance, than the fighter that struggled to get a draw against Golovkin. I felt he lost that fight back in 2017. So the 3 years is incredible, and he's still only 30. People forget that. I mean, it feels like a lifetime away, doesn't it, since he fought Lara and Mayweather and these types of fighters, and even Callum's brother Liam. I mean, he's such a different, better fighter, and there's a different physical specimen. But I just feel he's learnt a lot from fighting someone like Mayweather, and he's clearly adapted that style himself at times, but he's also, unlike Mayweather, he can get there in the trenches, can't he? And he just beat people up. And he's a far bigger puncher than Mayweather ever was. And you just hear his punches. I mean, last night, the thuds, the body shots on the arm, I mean, really hurting Smith, who, before that fight, had never, shown any kind of hurt, really, against anyone. So it was a very, very impressive performance. I didn't see that coming. I think I gave Smith one round. I think it was probably the first round, and then it was just utter domination. He did well to survive the 10th. I mean, he took some bad blows. His nose got busted. His bicep was really bad. He some big body shots, which he sagged for a second, didn't he, on the ropes? And obviously, Joe Gallagher at the end of the round was about to pull him, I felt, and asked, was he okay to continue? Smith bravely said yes, and credit to him, he fought on with a lot of heart, and he deserved to see the final bell. But my God, that was a beatdown, wasn't it? And Smith didn't fight badly. I mean, it's not like he choked. He tried everything: the jab, double up on the jab, to the body, to the head. He tried standing his ground. He tried boxing. Just nothing seemed to work, did it? I mean, he caught Canelo a few times coming in, but I mean, Canelo's so hard to hit clean. He really is the all-round fighter. He's got great head movement. Yes, I mean, he's not the fastest feet, but decent enough. He cuts the ring off. That's the most important thing with his feet. He's got great hand speed, great variety. I mean, there was even one point he feigned a jab and then threw an uppercut. I mean, his punch variety, he can do serious damage with left hand, right hand. He can knock people out with the left hand, like Kovalev. And he can go to the head like he did with Khan, or to the body like he did last night repeatedly. And I thought he would do a case of chopping the tree down, and ultimately that's what he did. He's just unbeatable for me at super middle or middle. I don't see anyone beating him. Dimitri Andrade's too lightweight. I just think Canelo gets to him late on and does him damage. Possibly late stoppage, but probably a points win. The Charlo, I just don't think has got enough about him all round. I think, Canelo sort of dominates him, really. Billy Joe Saunders, I mean, he's the one, isn't he? Everyone's saying has got the style, the speed, the awkwardness, the Mayweather-esque defence, but, Canelo's a better fighter than he was 7 years ago when he lost to Mayweather. He was a baby then. He's in his prime now. He's a man. And I think he's more active. And I just think he knows what to expect now with these kind of fighters, and he'll come up with a good game plan with, his trainer Eddie, and he's not inexperienced. He's fought them all. Fought Lara, Mayweather, and yes, I think the fight will be more competitive than it was last night purely because of Billy Joe's style. But ultimately, I just think Canelo's too good for Billy Joe as well. I think he catches him and it sort of makes Billy Joe fight his fight. And that's what Canelo does, doesn't he? He makes other people fight his fight. He never makes anyone look good, like Triple G in a rematch. Kind of fell into the Canelo trap. Last night Callum Smith definitely fell into the Canelo trap, and the list goes on. Rocky Fielding just completely overawed. Danny Jacobs fell into the Canelo trap, didn't look as free flowing, did he? And this is what great fighters do, they make you fight their fights. So now I've got a feeling Billy Joe, too inactive, too up and down with weights, too many weight trainers. I just think Canelo's going to get to him and possibly stop him, but certainly a points win. I just don't see Canelo losing for the next couple of years. The only one who can beat him for the next couple of years, I feel, is himself. And even light heavy, this is where we're getting with Canelo now, isn't it? Just to get him someone to give him a match. I mean, you're probably looking at Bivol, aren't you? Young in his prime, big, good boxer, can bang. That's probably the fighter that's got the most chance to beat him. Besides that, I just can't see it happening. As for Callum Smith, I'd love to see him move up to light heavyweight now. I think he looked weight drained, as I said. He even admitted that. I think the weight's killing him now. Yes, he can make the weight because he stays in shape, but he's not the same fighter, is he, after 6 rounds? As you get older, it's a struggle. He looks like a beanpole now. There's not much muscle on him. Not like there was 2 years ago at the weight. And I think he needs to go to light heavy. A bit like Bellew did, didn't he? He needed to go up to cruiserweight from light heavy. I think Callum needs to go now, 30 years old, from super middle to light heavy. His body type's changing. It's time to go. And I think he can do real damage. Bertabayev, I think he can give all kinds of trouble too. And then obviously you've got the Boatsi big domestic fight would be great. But besides Bivol, I think Callum Smith can easily win a world title at light heavy. I don't see it happening at super middleweight anymore. Benavidez is still there. But obviously he doesn't live the life. He's been caught with cocaine. He's been stripped of his title. I don't think he beats Canelo either. I think it's a blueprint. I think Canelo does what he did to Smith to Benavidez. And I don't think Smith's really interested in fighting Benavidez without a title. So light heavy for Callum. I'd like to see him have a world title fight after a few tune-up fights. I think he should be looking to do that. As for Canelo, well, the world's his oyster, isn't it? I think he's going to look to try and unify. I think he's going to try and fight Caleb Plant, who for me, style was all wrong. I think Canelo goes through him. And then I think it's the super fight of Billy Joe. And you have to favour, sadly, Canelo for that, to become the undisputed super middleweight champion and to continue his unbelievable Hall of Fame career. Masterclass last night. Smith was just totally overawed, totally overmatched, and it's time for him to move to light heavy. As for Canelo, the world is his oyster.